In the previous video we added entries, labels and message boxes, and in this video we will be designing menus. We will create menus with items and a menu bar. We will refactor our code to use functions. We will see how easy it is to add more menu items, and we will add functionality to menu items, and in the end we will add some padding around our widgets. The first thing we have to do in order to import menu from Tkinter, and notice that the M is an uppercase M because it's a class, so that's important because Python is case sensitive. But before we create menus, let's organize our code a little bit better, and let's place our current widget creation code into its own function. So we just create a new function and indent everything, highlight everything and push tab. And this is the same code as before, but now it's within a function. And the interesting thing to notice is our callback functions are now inner functions, so they are nested functions. And we call that at the bottom here, before we create the main loop, we call create widgets, and next we're gonna create a new function that creates our menu for our GUI. First, we create the menu bar by creating an instance of the menu class we just imported, and we pass in our GUI variable as the parent. So in our new function here, we create our menu bar and call the class menu and pass in GUI as a parent. Then we create another instance of the menu class, and this time we are passing in the just created menu bar as a parent. So in the first position here, that's the parent. And in this case, we also set the tear off property to false. If by default it's true, so what that does, you can actually tear off that menu, which seems to be ugly and weird. And it also creates an ugly line. So tear off to false makes it look nicer and better. And after that, we use menu here and the GUI is a parent, and we create another menu, and now the created menu bar is a parent. It's already funny, but that's how it works. And so now we call this file menu because our menu will have the text file down here. And we create it, we don't give it a label yet, but we create it here, and we use the add command and label new. So this is file new. So actually it looks like we are creating the menu item before we are creating the menu. We're creating the menu, then we're adding the menu item with a name, and then down here we're now adding the file menu as the menu to the menu bar and label it as file. Very unintuitive, but that's how it works. And then after this, we assign our menu bar that has a file menu, and the new menu item, we assign that as the menu bar, as the menu to our GUI, which then works. So a little unintuitive, but let's run it. So we can see we have the file menu and the new menu item, and they are both located in a menu bar that's not really visible. But if you pay close attention, we can see that our text now, there's a space here that wasn't there before. So this whole area is the menu bar, and we assigned the menu bar we created here as the menu via GUI config. I'm not going to repeat this now because it sounds too funny. So it works, we have file and the menu item is new. It doesn't do anything yet, so we want to add some functionality to it next. So let's add another menu item, call it exit here, and add a separator line between our new menu item and the exit menu item. And as we can see, all we have to do is add basically one line of code to add another menu item. So the rest is all the basic structure. And if we want to add 5 or 10 more menu items, all we have to do this. So that's really simple from here on. The rest is a little confusing, I think. So now we got file, new, we got the separator line here, and the exit menu item. So they don't have functionality yet, but we add that. And again, if we wouldn't have set the tear off to false, we would see a dashed ugly line at the top here, and you could actually tear this thing off. So that's not what we want. So this looks really good, I would say. To add functionality to a menu item, we add the command and assign it a function. So that looks the same as with the button. If we want to add functionality to a button, we add command when we create a button and then assign it a function. In this case, for the file menu, for the menu, we do add command. So we're adding, when we add or create the exit menu item, in the same instant we are assigning a function to the command, and I called it underscore quit. I think this is a recommended way to exit the GUI cleanly in Python. So you call the instance of the GUI and call quit on it, Then you call the instance, and you use the instance and call destroy on it, and then just to make sure if we get any exceptions, nothing goes wrong, you also call sys exit on it. So those three guys here in this function, and in order for that to work, we have to import sys at the bottom where the import statements live. So when we run this now, in the GUI nothing has changed. Visually, new doesn't do anything, but exit now actually exits the GUI, so it works. So just add the command with a function you create. We can also add extra spacing around our widgets by using padx and pady, which adds spacing to the horizontal and vertical lines, x and y. We can use them together, padx, pady, or just by themselves, and we do that in the grid configure part. And we give it a number, so you have to play around, whatever looks good. So I gave it padx 10 for only one button, and because we're using the grid layout, actually it aligns everything else as well. So we're adding some padding here on the x-axis, and when we now run it, we can see that there's like 10 pixels to the left and to the right of the buttons on both of them. I added it only to one, but it actually works for all of them. And so now there's more space, and we can do the same in the other direction, up and down. So this might be a little bit too much, but that's the beginning of beautifying the GUI. In this video we created a menu bar with a menu and menu items and made it functional. So we assigned the entire hierarchy of our menu to our GUI and made its menu bar. And we also refactored our code into functions to organize our code better and make it more readable. In the section 1 we created our first GUI with Python and Tkinter. Then we added widgets to our GUI. We used the grid layout manager. We looked deeper into that. We read and created entry widgets, and in the end we designed menus. In the next section we will look into advanced Python GUIs with Tkinter.